Hi everyone, and welcome to our second session. This is the slide we were talking about, and I've made some changes to it. I've listed the behavioral, existential, humanistic, and psychodynamic views first because those are the ones that are assessed on the psychological viewpoint questionnaire I would like you to complete in your syllabus. How you score that is you circle, if you agree with question number one, you circle both A's. If you disagreed with question one, you would circle any D's. Question two, again, circle all the A's if you agree with it, circle all the D's if you disagree with it. At the end, at the bottom of the 20 or so questions, count up the number of times you have a circle in each column and put that down at the bottom where you see B, E, H, and P. So your scores under B represent your agreement with the behavioral view. The existential view is not used in this class, but it's represented on the psychological viewpoint questionnaire. We're going to kind of combine that with the humanistic view. So under H is your score, showing how much you agree with the humanistic view, and under P shows how much you agree with the psychodynamic view. Students often get a really high score under psychodynamic and then hear what Freud has to say and kind of wonder how it is they could be agreeing with Freud. However, Freud's emphasis was on the effect of childhood experiences on our adult outcomes. So a lot of us agree that your childhood does influence how you are when you're an adult. So that's the part that you're agreeing with Freud. Again, the sociocultural view really just looks at behavior through the norms, values, and expectations of your culture. And I will talk about that a little bit in our class. And then the cognitive view, which is a very prevalent, very strong, highly regarded view, and that's not on the questionnaire either. So my recommendation is if you're planning to earn a master's degree in psychology, you could redo this questionnaire and have it represent the cognitive and the neuroscience view, and that could be your whole master's project. Okay, I want to talk about the neuroscience view in detail later. It's also referred to as the biological or medical view. Again, not given any representation on the questionnaire. As I mentioned, once again, the most prevalent combination of theoretical perspective is cognitive and behavioral. People really think that we need to look at people's thinking and their behavior to understand them. And when you combine two views, let's say you could be humanistic and psychodynamic, or behavioral and sociocultural. You can have any combination you like, and as you advance in psychology, if you're a psychology major, you will see that there are many views that you will come to appreciate, and you will have a creative synthesis of these views to call your own theoretical perspective in psychology. Again, a combination of two or more views is considered to be eclectic, and so the most prevalent view by counselors all over the world is eclectic. And the most prevalent model for explaining behavior is the biological, psycho, thinking, and social, culture model. Okay, I'm going to present you with a few people that you may or may not know. I'm going to ask you why they did what they did. So let's start. So, who is this? Yep, I think you all know who that is. But what did she do? Yeah, Britney Spears had a pretty rough time. She's made it back, but some of the things you can see, she was drunk in public. She did a hit and run with her car. She crushed a guy's feet with her car. She was in contempt of court. She failed to appear in court. She put her baby in her lap while driving, knowing full well the baby's supposed to be in a car seat. She drives without a driver's license. And then she got a psych evaluation after locking herself in the bathroom with her son and refusing to come out. Now, why? Why would a beautiful, successful person like Britney Spears end up doing these things? Think about it. Your explanation for why she's like this is coming from your theoretical viewpoint. All right, who's that? That's right, Robert Downey Jr., and he's doing fine now too, but he was had drug and other under the influence convictions, and it was, he was in the public eye and he went to drug rehab. Why would somebody really successful like him end up with problems? Now, this guy, yes, that's right, that's R. Kelly. And he is the one out of the group of photos that I'm going to show you that has the most serious mental illness. I'm not exactly sure what diagnosis he will achieve, but the first thing that brought him into the public light was his 21 counts of child pornography. So apparently he's sexually aroused by children. We've come to know that he is also someone who probably likes to enslave women and control them. And he's done this with several women, and he kind of has a cult of women around him. But that's all falling apart. And even his brother was on a talk show this week saying that he had to keep his kids away from R. Kelly because he was afraid of what he might do to them. Okay, the question is why? Why is a person attracted to child porn? What would happen in their brain or in their experience that would lead them to be attracted to children? Is it the neuroscience explanation and that there's just something different about the third interstitial nucleus in the lateral part of the hypothalamus that's different in him? That's where our attraction lies. And maybe there's something going on in his brain, or maybe he's had cultural experiences that lead him to have an attraction to children. The question about why he's like this reflects your theoretical perspective in psych. Okay, who's this? That's right, Charlie Sheen. And he had quite a time, didn't he? He appeared drunk or high on his show, and he was reputed to have prostitutes in his hotel room, and he had a talk show where he would say, "I'm winning," and all of that. But what we've come to know about Charlie Sheen since then is that he has bipolar disorder, and we were seeing the results of him in mania when he was doing his extreme behaviors. He's a good example of what we call the diathesis stress model of mental illness. The diathesis is kind of your genetic endowment that might give you the potential to have a mental disorder. And then the stress is what you're experiencing in your life that might put you over the edge and manifest an otherwise kind of silent mental illness in you. What Charlie talked about was that he was being blackmailed because he was HIV positive and someone found out about that and they were extorting money from him in order to keep their silence. So when Charlie's world kind of fell apart because of his bipolar disorder, he also decided to go on a talk show and talk about his HIV status so that that person could no longer blackmail him. But, the combination of that, the stress in his life, and bipolar is an inherited psychological disorder manifested in some pretty wild behavior for him. Okay, who's this? That's right, Pee Wee Herman. And what did he do? Look at his mugshot. You might remember that Pee Wee Herman exposed himself to people in an X-rated kind of theater situation. The question is why? Why would somebody that's got some money, got some fame, why would he end up needing to expose himself for sexual gratification in a theater somewhere? Good question. Okay, here he is, Senator Weiner. Just, of course, you can't help but hear his name and laugh. And do you remember what he did? That's right, he mailed pictures of his nether regions to a female and got caught. This is him showing his chest, but this ridiculous part of it is back here he has pictures of his family, so you can verify exactly who it is. Why would a man who's married, who was expecting a baby, and a senator married to the head of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, very talented woman. Why would he need to send pictures of his parts to a young woman that he is trying to impress? Your answer reflects your theoretical orientation. Okay, so the why is really important to abnormal psychology. The point of asking you these questions about why these famous people behave as they do is to help you start to think about, are you thinking like a behaviorist? Are you looking at the rewards and punishments involved in this? Are they seeking money, praise, and attention, the three most powerful reinforcers after food, air, and water? Are you thinking like a cognitivist and they're telling themselves some irrational and illogical things, like if I mail my pictures of my private parts to this girl, she's going to want me so much and that's going to make me feel really good? That would be the cognitive view. Are you looking at these people through the humanistic view, that the reason they have problems is because their real life and their ideal life are so far apart and their definition of growth is thwarted by fame and notoriety and the restrictions in your behavior that come along with that? Are you looking at it from a neuroscience view, thinking that all of these things these celebrities have done originate in some kind of imbalance in the chemical nature or the way that the anatomy and physiology of their brain and their endocrine system plays out? All these views have merit. There are many people who believe in each one of these views. So you can adopt any view you like, any combination of view you like, to help explain abnormal behavior. I will be going into detail from each perspective soon. But I'd like you to pause for a minute and just think about, what are your top 3 positive personality traits? What are problem personality traits you have? How'd you get your personality? Do you think it's genetic? Do you think it's learning? Do you think it's a combination of both? What percentage would you put on learning? What percentage would you put on genes? Do your siblings, if you have some, possess the same or really different personality traits? If genes are responsible for personality, then how would you explain that? And finally, have you tried to change your personality? Were you successful? Remember your New Year's Eve resolutions, or any time after a relationship has ended and you've tried to change? Were you successful? I'm going to end this session now, but I'd like you to spend some time pondering these questions. Okay, see you next time.